through the centuries, Bigfoots have been encountered, or Bigfoot-like creatures. Well, for that matter, all kinds of creatures have been encountered by man. It's a creature that ranges from 6.5 feet tall. Well, there have been 4-foot Bigfoots that have been seen, but all the way up to 15 feet tall.
Okay, what did it look like?
It looked like a giant ape with a man's face, but I was afraid to kill it, and it made a whistling sound. He was about 9-10 foot tall, with real long arms.
There was a man by the name of Tim Peeler. He had an encounter with a 10-foot Bigfoot. And he described that creature as looking like an old man with hair covering the whole body. Very ancient looking face. He said there was no smell. And what he described was an encounter that I wouldn't want to have. He was pretty close to the creature. He actually poked it in its chest with a stick. And the creature backed off. Lucky for him. But what happened was that the creature, I guess, was attracted to his dogs, and the dogs were menstruating, and with that blood, the creature was attracted. But when the creature came to the area where the dogs were, the dogs ran around the leg of this creature and wrapped their chains around the leg of the creature. Well, the creature was standing there in front of Tim Peeler. The creature reached down and slowly took the chain and took it off its leg. And this is where the encounter happened, where he poked the creature in the chest and told it to get off his property, which took a lot of guts. But yeah, this Bigfoot is quite large, and some of them are quite small. I think the smaller ones are just different variation of them. I don't think there's any young. I have my own opinions about this, but I don't think we're looking at a creature here that's from this world. It may have been here once, but you're talking something that's either interdimensional or a spiritual type creature, because these creatures, when they walk in the snow, their footprints just disappear. Or when they walk anywhere, I mean, mud, sand, just their footprints just disappear. They'll disappear in the middle of a field or approach a tree and just disappear. It's a very strange thing. Their eyes have been known to glow. They've been known to talk into people's heads. A feeling of dread and doom comes over individuals before an encounter. These are signs of something that's not of this world. Our body's reacting to these things. The same type of effect we have with quote-unquote aliens, and then your hauntings, your common hauntings and demonic infestations, and things of this nature. Anything that deals with the paranormal seems to put off these feelings, or variations of them. These creatures seem to stay in areas that are not occupied by mankind, very far off places. There have been encounters on reservations where multiple creatures have been seen. Peering eyes coming out of the darkness, like I mentioned before, green. Sometimes they've even been said to have red eyes. But they have a laugh that's very demonic sounding.
According to the St. Louis Dispatch newspaper, June 4, 1868 was an eventful day in the sleepy town of Medville, Mississippi. A strange-looking creature was roaming the town, and everyone was on their toes waiting for another sighting. It began with a party of huntsmen that were driving in the swamps a few miles from the river with their dogs, who had locked onto something on the trail. The dogs were actually running ahead of the car. When they caught up with the dogs, they found strange tracks in the mud, similar to a human foot, except one toe had been bent backwards. When all had gotten to the scene with the dogs, which were now baying, they beheld a frightful-looking creature about the average height of a man, but with far greater muscular development, standing a few yards in front of the dogs. It had long, coarse hair flowing from its head and reaching down to its knees. Its entire body also seemed to be covered with hair of 2 to 3 inches in length, which was of dark brown color. From its upper jaw projected very large tusks, several inches long. When the hunters approached, it fled towards the Mississippi River, but was not overtaken again until within a few yards of the bank. When the party came up with the dogs, the second time, the monster was standing erect before them. But when their masters urged the dogs to seize it, it reached forward, grabbed one of them, and taking it in its hands, pressed it against its tusks, which pierced it through and killed it instantly. Becoming alarmed at this display of strength, the hunters fired several shots at the creature, which caused it to leap into the river. It remained under the water for several minutes, and then raised almost its entire length above the surface, uttering shrieks, which petrified the hunters with terror. No similar sound had ever come to the ears of these men, who were familiar with the howl of the wolf, the whine of the panther, and the hoarse bellowing of the alligator. After sinking and rising several times, it swam to the Louisiana shore and disappeared. This report of the huntsman created quite a stir, and considerable speculation among theorists, and much greater amount of fear among the community. But as time rolled away, and no new discoveries were made concerning the monstrosity, the excitement died away. In 1995, a film crew in Del Norte County, California, claimed they caught a Bigfoot on camera. The startling 33-second image depicts a large bipedal creature in the road at Jedediah Smith's Redwood State Park, shot through a windshield of an RV by a camera crew who were shooting some stock footage there. The crew was more surprised than anyone. At first they thought it was a bear, and were very excited to see it. Once they turned the headlights on and saw that it was a man-like creature, they were more frightened and alarmed than excited.
Fucking bear! Look! Fuck! A bear! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Look at big bear! Look at it!
Not a bear. That's I don't know.
What is that? Is that a fucking bear? Colin, put your brakes on. Put your brakes on. Whoa! Fuck! 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 Oh my God! We got it!
At first, they weren't sure what to do with the grainy footage. Take it to the media and risk being ridiculed, or keep it in secret. They finally decided to go public, and the film caught on with the title of the Redwoods video. The film is remarkably similar to the Patterson-Gimlin film, shot in 1967. It depicts a bipedal creature walking with its arms swinging at its sides, and it's about 8 feet tall. As the subject vanishes into the darkness behind the redwood trees, we are afforded a last informative glimpse of the leg and foot. The heel is very broad, and the ankle thick, and the calf lacks the characteristic taper and straight line of the human Achilles tendon. Significantly, the heel of the visible trailing foot comes off the ground, while the midfoot appears to remain in contact with the ground until it pushes off, and the entire foot swings forward. This is quite different from the action of a human foot, in which the heel and the midfoot lift together, but characteristic of an ape's foot, with its more flexible joints. All the signs that the bipedal Bigfoot walks with a gait distinct from that of humans. As the creature disappears into the forest, the film crew got a good look at its face. They described it as man-like, with protruding jaw and brow, with high cheekbones and well-defined shoulders and thick neck. Reports of supposed giant primates from North America first came to prominence in the late 1950s. Giant human-like footprints were found at road construction sites as the wilderness of Northern California was opened up to logging. The reports, documented by photographs and plaster cast, resulted in the name Bigfoot, but the creature was also known as Sasquatch, an Indian name for the eater of the dead, first popularized in Western Canada. Eyewitnesses related startling accounts with giant upright apes, but both the authorities and the scientific community ignored these stories. David Bittner of Pixel Works Incorporated, Maryland, had this to say about the film, quote, "The low contrast and high noise of the footage made the enhancement process difficult at best. Still, we were able to see many details with more clarity than was possible in the original footage. Our analysis of the footage reveals nothing that would indicate a hoax. There is no visible evidence of a costume, and there is nothing that indicates any doctoring of the video and other use of special effects." End quote. According to noted author John Keel, best remembered for the Mothman prophecies, a small group of children observed an ape-like creature drinking from a pond near one of the children's homes. The children looked obviously frightened, and he included their experience in his book, Strange Creatures from Time and Space. Falobi del Penedès is now a luxury vacation hotspot, located just 60 miles from Barcelona, and their customers are not used to hearing Yeti tales as they cozy up to 5-star meals. It is for this reason that they finally opened their doors to sportsmen of all types, now including Yeti hunters. What seemed at first as a figment of a boy's imagination gained credibility when the creature was reported by several adults in what appeared to be a Bigfoot mini-flap in the area. The Yeti is just one of many names given to the creature over the centuries and through different cultures. In North America, it can be Sasquatch or Bigfoot. In other cultures, Rakshasa, Wendigo, or the Hairy One, and there are many more. The American Indians feared it greatly and dubbed it the Eater of the Dead. In some parts of the world, specifically colder climates, it is also known as the Abominable Snowman. Getting back to our Yeti, the next day the newspaper reported the event, stating that the creature drank from the pond behind the boy's house, then fled, leaving a number of large footprints, 40 centimeters long, resembling those of a plant-eating animal. These footprints matched those of a description offered by motorist Robert Juver, who claimed having an encounter with an animal with a large hairy body and long arms several days before near Holstridge. It crossed the road in front of him, walking with a slow gait. The newspaper reported that neither local zoos nor circuses had reported any missing animals that could have caused the confusion. A measure of panic permeated the area, and a massive search was conducted, and were fruitless, as usual. Perhaps this is because they are interdimensional beings, and it can make itself known when it wants to be seen. Stories and legends appear in almost every culture about this creature, depicting it this way.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.